Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we did verse 12 and we are on verse 13. And before the class started, Sheila ji had a request that I explain the verse 12 one more time. So I'm going to do that. They are very similar.
The page number, please.
Yeah, Meena ji can give a page number.
For 12, it's 222.
Thank you.
So the verse number 12 and 13 are very similar. In fact, half of it is identical. And they're given a few, so obviously they're linked. So in a way, it is good that we can review 12. So he's saying over here something very contradictory. And we have discussed it that in Vedanta, contradiction is part of Vedanta. Absolutely, you cannot avoid it. And there's a reason. They're not crazy. That's why they're contradicting that. First they say this, then they're saying this, because it depends on what angle you're looking at. And they're trying to help us to make our mind subtle. Go more into deep thinking, because 2 plus 2, 4, that kind of thing doesn't work in Vedanta, because we are talking about infinity. Imagine, trying to grasp infinity. So we have to expand our mind. And then we were discussing that how even meditation is a contradictory thing. On one hand, you're concentrating and then you're expanding because you're thinking of the self. See that? So that's how you have to think of from both angles. It's like every aspect of it you have to think of. So यहाँ पर बोला उन्होंने अंगुष्ठ मात्र पुरुषः. So the Purusha यहाँ पर is talking about that ultimate Bhagwan or Brahman, reality, truth, whatever you want to call it. The ultimate thing that our goal is to merge with that, whatever we are discussing in Bhagavad Gita, right? So Angushta Matra Purusha resides in the middle of the body. Why did they say that? On one hand, they are telling you, hey, that the whole Bhagwan is unlimited, all-pervading, kan mein Bhagwan. We can have so many different languages, right? Now he's saying that he's residing in your... From what angle he's saying? So the best example is of space. That space is everywhere. It's undivided. The whole galaxy is in there. But when I am in my home and in this room, I call this a room space and I make use of it, isn't it? So as though, जब मैं बोलती हूँ मेरी room space है, as though वो कट गई है, मगर actually कटी नहीं है वो. ऐसा लगता है मुझे, कि वो separate हो गई है. So basically what they are trying to do is they are trying to give you something to hold on in the beginning in meditation for the people who directly want to meditate on the Brahman. Early क्या बोलते हैं practices में there you can if you have a Ishta Devata, you can think of the Ishta Devata, you can have the picture of Ishta Devata in your mind, or some light or some chakra or something, an object. That is early meditation. So what Swamiji explained in this verse 12, that they are just, Shruti is very kind. It has kind of stooped to your level because we cannot understand infinity right now. So it's telling you it's okay to think that that Brahman is shining within you, and it is as though, okay, that's the most important word, because that eva word is going to come in here, the next word, as though it is like a angushta matra. ऐसा नहीं कि अंगुष्ठ मात्र है, but as though. You get it, Sheila ji, what I'm saying? So that's what they're talking about over here. And then it immediately says it's a Lord of past and the future. So when they say Lord of past, हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि महाकाल, काल का भी बाप हो जो जिसमें से काल निकला है. Okay, so it is like past, present and future, तीनों का जो इष्ट देवता, I'm not sure, ईशान is like a lord, जो उनका भगवान है, you know, जिसमें से टाइम निकला है बेसिकली, वो अंगुष्ठ मात्र पुरुषा है. So ऐसा मत सोचना, वहीं पर मत टिके रह जाना कि वो यही है बस. नहीं, वो तो ईशान है of past, present and future. That's how. And then जब ऐसा हम लोग मेडिटेट करेंगे ना, तो हमारे सारे फियर्स खत्म हो जाएंगे, डर खत्म हो जाएगा हमारे से. बिकॉज डर तभी लगता है कोई दूसरा होता है तब, अपने से कभी खुद से नहीं डर लगता है. सो दैट्स व्हाट इट इज ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट, that basically when we come, we understand that whatever is in me, my atma, that the same atma is everywhere, then all the fears go away. And this indeed is that, ये वही है, ये अंगुष्ठ मात्र, as though अंगुष्ठ मात्र, जो नचिकेता ने प्रश्न पूछा था कि भाई what remains after death, is there something remains, the atma or the brahman remains always. That's what this verse 12 is saying. So did that help you?
Make me very clear.
Yeah. So now let's go to the next verse. Very similar.
Much.
Yeah, sure. The next verse 13 is Angushta matra purushaha jyotiriva dhumakaha ishano bhuta bhavyasya sa evadya sa ushvaha. You can see half of it is same. That person of the size of thumb, he's talking about that Brahman actually. Sorry, what am I saying? I'm supposed to do the Sanskrit first. Angushta matra, again size of the thumb. Purusha over here, think of it as Brahman, God. Jyoti everybody understands here, flame or light. Eva, see, this is the most important one, like the Jyoti. तो ये मत सोचना कि there is a commentary में आएगा अभी कि वो एक कोई था, स्वामी जी ने कहा कि वो ज्योति ढूंढता रह गया 25 साल तक, and उसको कुछ मिला नहीं, because he could not progress, because he got stuck on that, there is some Jyoti and I can't find it. Don't misunderstand what they're saying over here. Because it's in like a Jyoti, and we're going to understand from this verse what they mean about light of consciousness. That's another very different kind of meaning in Vedanta, what they mean by light of consciousness. Not the physical light, but it's more, it gives you power to comprehend things or become conscious. That's what it's called, the light of consciousness. We'll see. So Eva word is very important, like I said, like adhumakaha, without smoke. This also has very deep meaning, means without ignorance actually, that's what it means. Because ignorance is always, उसको ना darkness को ignorance बताया गया है, and when we say धुआं means हमेशा dark ही होता है वो. So it's ये वाली जो light है ना, इसमें कोई धुआं नहीं है, कोई ignorance नहीं है. Ishana is the Lord, Bhut and Bhavyasa, of the past and the future and present is included in it. Sa eva, he alone. Adya means today. And again, sa u means he alone. Shwaha, this is also a very important word, tomorrow. So Adya means today, Shwa means tomorrow. And then when we do chapter 15, there'll be Ashwatha tree, and Mahapar we will see the tree that always, never stays the same, and that's the world. Anyway, I don't want to digress over there, but that's what Shwa word is going to come again. Etat is this, Vai verily is that, this is that. So what are they saying over here? Okay. So in the previous verse we saw that in our heart, and when we talk about spiritual heart, it is not this physical pump that we have. That's a physical heart. When they say heart, Hridaya in Sanskrit, in the Vedanta, it has a different meaning. It almost means like our essence, and then Swamiji explains that where mind and intellect merge and all the good thoughts come from this integrated personality, that is a spiritual heart of kindness, love, oneness, and all that. So in the heart, it appears as though the size of thumb, and we have already discussed in detail now what it means. So, and the Purusha word, Tejomayanji was explaining, he did explain previously, but we'll just repeat it, means permeated the whole world. That's the real meaning of the word Purusha. Not like the male word that we think of, but in Vedanta, when they say Purusha, is Purush and Prakriti, spirit and matter. That also how you can say. So the spirit is permeating the whole world, or the whole cosmos, actually, not even the world, or pervading. Pervading word is a simpler word also. And this is also infinite, that like we discussed. And then earlier it was said that Atmani Madhya Tishtati, it resides in your heart or in your body, you can say, because you can use different words, but the idea is it resides within you. You don't need to go anywhere else. And then now in this particular verse, the difference in this verse is said that these couple lines, Jyotir va dhumakaha, means it is this Jyoti that they were talking about in the previous verse. It is as though Jyoti, number one. And then second thing is, it is smokeless light. So what do they mean by adhumakaha? Tejomayanji explained that, hey, this is not the light that we see. When we see light of sun, or we turn the light on, वो वाली light के बारे में नहीं बोल रहे हैं लोग, light of consciousness के बारे में बोल रहे हैं. And what is that light of consciousness? Firstly, in the light of consciousness, no ignorance is there. Avidya nahi hai. Once you unite with that consciousness, you will not be ignorant. Okay? That example you can even take in the worldly light. अगर कोई हम बत्ती चालू कर दे हमारे कमरे में, तो फिर अंधकार तो चला जाता है ना, है ही नहीं अंधकार, राइट? बट यहाँ पर एक और स्टेप बोल दिया उन्होंने, द स्मोकलेस, मीनिंग उसमें अंधकार बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. Okay, maybe ऐसा ignorance बिल्कुल भी नहीं है, you can say. And he's saying that, okay, now this is the most important thing that we have to contemplate upon. That many times we don't think about this, and now today we are going to think about it. He's saying this light of consciousness is so wonderful that within that light of consciousness we understand both. We understand darkness as well as light. Okay, but in that physical light, एक बार light चालू हो जाए, darkness भाग जाता है. There is no darkness over there. But this is, in light of consciousness, you are understanding both. Did you get it? What I'm saying? This is above both. तो मतलब हम ये भी जानते हैं कि darkness क्या है, और हम ये भी जानते हैं light क्या है. उसको बोलते हैं light of consciousness. So he's saying that it is something like you're sitting in the dark, totally dark place. You close your eyes and you are thinking. You might have a thought of some consciousness thought you have. You recognizing that thought that it is consciousness. Then you say, oh, I don't understand this, right? So it's a thought of ignorance, and you are understanding that too. So that's why it is above that, because it is a capability of understanding both darkness and light. That's why it's called light of consciousness. And a similar verse has come in Bhagavad Gita, Jyoti Sham Apitat Jyoti, and Tamasa Parastata. What it means is, this is the light that illumines everything that is shining in this universe also. So ये बोलते हैं ज्योति की ज्योति है. Because ये जो हमारे सूर्य में ज्योति है, या हमारे जो भी लाइट है, ये anything you say, कहाँ से आई? You can say, okay, whatever energy we have on the earth, that has come from the sun. That's legitimate. But from where did the sun get it? That's the point. Scientists can go as far as, okay, sun has a light, but light wo kahan se aayi hai, that they cannot explain. So they might say, okay, so koi chemical reaction se aayi hai, ye hai, wo, I don't know what they will say. I'm sure they will have some arguments. But where did that chemical reaction come? You can keep going back, right? Hey, who made this law? Okay, all this is functioning because of law of gravity. Arey, wo law of gravity kahan se aaya, right? Then you have to go piche. That's where you stop, because the consciousness is the one that provided this light. That's how you have to look at it. That this is this light is illumining everything, including the physical light is illuminating. And also we already discussed that it is untouched by darkness because it's no ignorance in there. This is what he's saying, turn your mind to. When they're like in meditation also, say, what do I turn my mind? You turn into this kind of light of consciousness. And इसमें वापस repeat किया उन्होंने, because it is a very important thing. That's why he repeated it. Ishano bhuta bhavyasya. Exact words are repeated in this verse 13. He's saying it's a lord of 3 periods of time. And now he's talking about, go back to the Tejomaya energy, said, go back to the previous verse. Okay, about what is this consciousness? And he referred to verse 18 of Valli 2. And this exactly similar verse, 80% of it similar is Bhagavad Gita. That's why, a lot of Swamis, they joke that Krishna Bhagavan was the first plagiarist. He picked the verse from there and put it in Bhagavad Gita. It's just a joke because he already mentioned that he's telling you what our wise people say. He didn't even take credit himself, So the verse was na jayate mriyate na vipaschit. And then the second part of it was ajo nityam shashvatoyam purana na hanyate hanyamane sharire. And basically what it's saying is neither is born nor it's dies. It is eternal. Nitya is eternal. Shashvat, always there. They are similar words, You can say Sanatana. Purana is ancient, meaning, always there. You can say it. And by na hanyate hanyamane sharire means when the body dies, it does not die. So it is free from birth, decay. And when you say birth and death, means birth, growth, decay, and death. Everything is included in it. Okay? And then the other part of this verse, 13, says, the last part, sa eva adya sa ushvaha. And we say adya means today, shva means tomorrow. So he's saying, this was there today, this is there today, and it will be there tomorrow. Okay? So same thing is going to be there today and tomorrow. So what he's reminding us is, and I think Meena ji had brought this point last class, that hey, Nachiketa had originally asked, right in the beginning, that hey, मैंने सुना है कि there are some people who say that after we die, something remains, and other people say nothing remains. So can you please tell me, does anything remain? What is true? That's what he had asked. So what Tejomaya Energy was saying, this verse, by saying that आज भी है और कल भी वही होगा, it's telling you that it does remain. Something does remain. So forget about कि कुछ नहीं रहता, ऐसा नहीं है. आत्मा सदैव रहती है. तो ये confirm कर रहा है वो. So he's saying is literally refuting that nothing remains. And so he's saying that Shruti is saying this, and this Shankaracharya ji says that this point is so clearly mentioned over here that you cannot refute it anymore. That's exact meaning that it is there today, it will be there tomorrow. And so he was reminding that, there are different schools of thought in India, and that, we have, when we did the Mandukya, we had gone through this, but I don't want to go too much in detail, but it seems that there is something called Shanik Vigyan. Okay, Shanik Vigyan means this group of people, they believe that consciousness is constantly changing, like flickering, moment to moment change होती रहती है. There's a group of people who believe in that. So he said, उसको भी refute कर दिया यहाँ पे, because it said आज है और कल भी वही होगा. तो इसका मतलब वो बदलता नहीं है. So if somebody has this crazy idea that it changes, no. Yes, the world is called Shanik because, matter changes. That we don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that everything changes and deteriorates, Especially here, if you live near the ocean, jung jaldi लगता रहता है सब चीज़ों को. It changes, And then remember I was telling you that previous verse was Ajo Nitya Shashvat Yam Purana. So by telling you this also, it's telling you that it is permanent and it's Nitya means it will always be there. And he's saying Aitad Vaitad, meaning whatever you are asking, that Brahman, this is that Brahman. that you are asking, what he's describing in this. Okay? And basically, coming back to this Angushta Matra, it is just because of the upadhis, it feels like that. Because we have mind, body and intellect. और हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, जब भगवान मेरे में है, तो ऐसा लगता है कि वो एक जैसे छोटी सी ज्योति हो मेरे में, वो भगवान है. So that's all. But you should know it very clearly that is infinite, actually. That's what you are. And the same jyoti that I'm feeling in my heart, spiritual heart or the Atma, is the same in everybody, the same one. And he's saying that Tejomayananji reminded that vision in the Vedanta is called Advaita Darshan. Means when we say Advaita Vedanta, you must have heard this word so many times. Non-dual is because of this fact. Okay. So same Atma Tattva everywhere. And he said, he gave me one more word, Tejomayananji did. He's saying Atma Ekatva Darshan, means Atma ka oneness. Darshan means like this is what through the studies I understand. Darshan means to see, but the deeper meaning is that to comprehension of it. So he's saying that जहां पर ऐसी थिंकिंग होगी ना, वहीं पर राग द्वेष नहीं होगा, भाग जाएगा राग द्वेष. And when coming back to Bhagavad Gita, that if somebody rests in the self which is infinite, that's when the thoughts will get dissolved. Because अक्सर thoughts क्या चीज़ के होते हैं? ऐसे होता है ना, राग और द्वेष के होते हैं. So वो सब खत्म हो जाएगा. And he's saying that, and then you will see no difference. And then because if you say opposite of it, when you don't see the oneness, that's when all the different kind of thoughts come in your mind. I love this person, I hate this person, I'm indifferent to this person, the division starts happening. Remember in the previous verse, it said that the one who sees the division goes to death to death. 2-3 verses before we did that one. So that's what he's talking about, that many different kinds of bhavs will be created if we get caught up into sansar. So that's why these 2 verses help us to stay focused on the self. And then in the next mantra, what they're going to do is that the person who does not have oneness vision, उसका क्या होता है, एक example के रूप में वो लोग बताएंगे क्या होता है. Okay? That's what it is, these 2 verses. Any question or comment? Okay, if not, then Meeraji can read.
The person of the size of a thumb is like flame without smoke, Lord of the past and future. He alone is even today and will be verily tomorrow. This is verily that. That Purusha or Atman of the size of the thumb, who is perceived by the meditator in his heart as light or jyoti, exists immutably through all times, past, present, and future. He exists in all living beings now, and he will certainly be existing in all forms tomorrow also.
So we discussed in detail, right? The whole thing? Yeah.
Some sadhakas, taking this line very literally, start imagining a thumb-like flame as though burning bright within their bosom and meditate long upon it. Personally, this sadhu had known an individual who had been imagining this light for the past 23 years and who recently approached the Swami with a very sad and melancholy face to complain of his spiritual fall, since he is not having nowadays the darshana of his Atma.
See how much wrong line it can go into. So, don't take it too literally, this Angushta Matra Jyoti in you. It's just a symbol is given to you to help us meditate. That's how we have to look at it.
Friends, this is only one instance of the desperation of a foolish sadhaka who had come to believe that his imagination created illusory flame dream in his Atman. It is dangerous, certainly, to try to walk the path of knowledge without continuous study of the scriptures and constant satsang with real Mahatmas. We need not the palm reading, stargazing, earth selling Mahatmas that flock the city streets of our unhappy land nowadays. Let them be quoted by the ignorant multitude that hustle out of the universities of India. But to a true seeker of truth and to an intelligent follower of religion, such Mahatmas are mere ochre-clothed criminals poisoning the very atmosphere of the sacred land of the rishis. When we shall have a government intelligent enough to feed the country better and provide with sufficient work, we shall have these monsters wiped out from our market scene. Till then, we must learn to endure what cannot be avoided.
You can see that, we have faced those kind of thing. In fact, my sister was saying, we have three sisters. One is here, but the other one was visiting, and her husband, goes to Vipassana and all that. And we were having this discussion, and she said, she told a story about some fake sadhu, कैसे बुद्धू बनाया, फिर उसने sentences, सभी ऐसे ही होते हैं, I said, you cannot put everybody in the same category. You cannot say. So, किसी को bad experience हो जाता है ना, तो like everything is bad. No. So, he's cautioning you. And then, he's just saying that there was a whole generation like that just believe that sadhus means, some useless person or something. So, that's why he's just telling you that when you are meditating, when you're doing something like this, you should continuously study the scripture and the constant satsang of the Mahatma. That's another answer here for Nareshji, that helps us to go on the right path. And, there are so many genuine ones, and they give so many great tips. And, you will find in the end one person that maybe you connect to the most, and follow that. And we will make progress, because you can I'm sorry?
You are very right, Umaji, because if I read something by myself, and maybe I'm not able to understand it completely, but when Mahatmaji explains, the meaning becomes a lot more easier.
Yes.
And I'm comprehend better, though, no question about it.
Yeah. So he gave such a fantastic tip that, and now I tell you with the YouTube and all that, Mahatmas are coming into your living room, wherever you want them to come. They're coming to you. Because at one time, like Chinmayananji was saying, you could study Vedanta only by going to some Himalayas or something, under a guru. Koi dusra sikhata bhi nahi tha, But now there are so many great ones, and, so we should make use of it for sure. Yeah. Any other thing? Okay, go ahead.
The thumb-like Jyoti recommended by the great rishis is only to provide the meditator with a prop to develop his concentration during the early stages of his practices. The stone idol of Shiva is not in itself Sri Parameshwara. Similarly, the Jyoti is but an idol for the Vedantin to meditate upon during his practices, and it is not the Atman. If an idol is unfortunately stolen from the temple, it doesn't mean that God has been stolen away.
Because India में थोड़ा सा भी कुछ हो जाता है, वो लोग इतना हंगामा मचा देंगे, वो कुछ अपशुकन हो गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, and the mind is gone totally away from Brahman then. It's gone all kinds of weird stuff. So it's just telling you that, hey, even if you have a Ishta Devta, a mandir, respected, none of that is not going against it, but know very well in your mind that, hey, this is a representation of that Brahman. It's same thing like Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna body is not the entire thing, but because he's merged with it, that's why we say that Krishna and Brahman is one. And we have discussed it many times that when he said the Bhagavad Gita, he was totally one with the Brahman. That's why it's like Brahman is talking. And later on, when Arjun asked him, hey, can you repeat the Gita? Krishna Bhagwan say, I cannot repeat exactly because that only happened that time. I can still repeat it, but it's not going to be the same. Because so that's what it is that we have to remember that.
When a sadhaka has developed his power of concentration, he enters by degrees into the higher stages of meditation advised by the Shruti in the various Upanishads, and he ultimately comes to realize his own identity with his own Atman, the light power wisdom source within him.
So this is a process, basically. This is a helpful process, by concentration, power of concentration. He enters by degrees. So slowly it's going to happen into the higher stages of meditation. So here is another tip. Both the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita are full of different tips how to get there. But the goal is also given, realize our own identity with his Atman. So that is called self-realization. And he called that the light, power, wisdom source within himself. So he put all the three words. Our ultimate battery power within us is that. You can say that.
I really like the example of the Jyoti being a prop, for meditation.
Yes.
It's for your concentration. So in the beginning, you can focus on some light, jo bhi aapko chahiye. But then that is not an end in itself. It's only a step on the ladder.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very nice.
Okay. Any comment, question?
Umaji, this was for the Advaitins who don't have idol. So because others can, those who are bhaktas who believe in devotion, they have an idol.
True.
They have a point to concentrate. And so they had to give this because it's mentioned here, I think in verse 11 or something, or 12, somewhere, that because you don't have an idol, that's why they had to give that, They had to come down to the level of our level to give this.
Exactly.
So we have something to concentrate on.
Yeah.
So
it's helpful. And we used to discuss sometime कि दूसरे religion में ऐसा बोलते हैं कि idol worship is very bad, ये है वो है, right? हंगामा इतना मचाते हैं. उनके भी हैं सारे idols because they have a cross. वो ऐसा करेंगे, and then वो क्या बोलते हैं, Muslim लोग will bow down to नमाज वही टाइम जगह पे पढ़े. वो भी सिंबल ही हो गया ना. भगवान तो हर जगह है.
yes,
Like when you go to chapter 11, when he saw the Vishwarup Darshan, and then Arjun is saying, मैं कहाँ से नमस्कार करूँ, कौन सी दिशा में, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्योंकि हर जगह तो आप है, right? लेकिन सिंबल उनका भी है. Exactly why, and they have the picture of Mother Mary and Jesus, and so कितना भी वो लोग हमको criticize करें, but सभी को चाहिए symbol in the beginning. Because like we said, that infinity is so hard to comprehend.
yeah.
I mean, even if I look at the ocean, I can't comprehend कि कहाँ तक जाता है. But here you're talking about infinity of the whole cosmos.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, so what you're saying is true. So they're just trying to help us, And the beauty of our Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita is that there is something for everybody. The emotional type, the people who are physical type, and the intellectual type. किसी को उन्होंने बोला नहीं कि this one is better than that and all that. Like Joe was saying, they have given you the whole buffet. We have no excuse to say I don't know what to do. Because they have given us everything. And in the end, everybody will reach the same spot. Right?
Yeah.
It's like you can take different props. It's something like you can eat different kind of foods, but you can still get nutrition from it. So that's what the analogy is, that it's okay, all different things. And that gives us, we should not have this holier than thou attitude also. My path is the best and just everybody should do that. And my Swami is the best or my Guru. Nothing like that. Whoever has some Shraddha, uske liye wohi sabse acha hai. You know? So this kind of thing brings us some humility also. That, respecting everybody and their paths.
Exactly. Accept everybody as they are.
Yeah. And I think only an individual can decide, turning within, ki where do I have to make the adjustment, what works for me, and what makes me progress. And here in all these places, they're giving you the ultimate goal, and if I'm inching towards it, that means that path is right for me.
And the Gita gives you the direction also.
Yes, I mean, Gita is the best package I have seen. Upanishads are great, but
and the way, both things, and that's what it's.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The goal and the way.
Yeah, the goal and the way, and very, very kindly he picked a person, and he was in the beginning. Uski jo halat batai hai Arjun ki. It makes him very human, just like us, we come to that situation. Yes. No matter how great you are in your achievements, but it can happen to us, right? That he was just sobbing like a baby, that he had become so distraught. But Krishna Bhagavan says, don't worry, I can help you. So.
Umaji, self, when we use the word self, and we can think as Krishna too at that time, or?
Yeah, you definitely can. And Krishna Bhagavan ne use kiya hai the word me many times, but he's referring to that self. He's not referring to just the Krishna, the body. Because body देखा तो कृष्ण भगवान ने भी त्याग दी body. उनकी भी physical death हुई थी. So, but he's talking true. So you can use, but just that's what is in this verse. When we were doing the commentary, they said no, कि just because the मूर्तिगत is there and you have that, okay, भगवान दिखते हैं आपको उसमें, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि भगवान वो ही है सिर्फ.
Right.
हाँ, बस वो ध्यान में रखना. बाकी, yeah. And the example they give you is that we keep the pictures of our family in the house, right?
Right.
Picture हम लोग symbol के लिए रखते हैं, because that reminds me of that person. Right? Picture तो नहीं है वो. Picture cannot talk with me and do all that, but it just reminds me of that. The same thing like I can have Krishna's murti, I can have Krishna's picture. So it's a symbol, that's all.
No, it make it very much clear to me, because I was thinking to myself, we are considered, because without language, self, we are talking. The self means, like we can ask. Actually, I was reading 2-3 days before Ramayana too. In that, Bhagwan ji say that person who quality, he said that he came to know him about himself,
Same thing, yeah.
In the end, Uttarakhand, he was telling that in the end, when he do this thing, this and that, he say he will know by himself, doing the self. So that is the thing,
meaning.
Yeah. I was comparing these verses in thinking in Ramayana too. Yeah.
Ramayana also, all the points are there. So many different places. In the beginning also, there is a conversation between. If you go in Tulsi Ramayana, there is a conversation between Shiv Bhagwan and Parvati. उसमें भी पूरा वेदांत है. पूरा वेदांत उसमें है.
हाँ जी, के इंद्रिय है, फिर उनका प्रकाश कहाँ से आ रहा है, आगे उनके देवता है, तो देवताओं को प्रकाश कहाँ से मिला? They explain everything.
And then they have that other conversation between Lakshman and Ram Bhagwan. उसमें वापस आता है. तो there are many times it repeated everything. Yeah. But वो ज़्यादा किसी को उसमें ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है, because story में ना रस आता है. And then
story में ज़्यादा
जो हम लोग बोल रहे थे ना, how to concentrate on something, that's a very powerful method. कि जब राम भगवान से प्रेम होने लगेगा, तो then it's easier to think just about, because इतनी सारी stories, so then it becomes one pointed. And then while we are studying Ramayana, then all these subtle points will come, and then we will learn from that. So true.
And the point become clear that we are connecting ourselves to the Supreme, and we are taking away ourselves from the world, Right?
Yeah.
So it make me today make me very, very clear. Thank you very much, Umaji.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Any other question or comment? I'll close the class here, so we have another some time, 20 minutes if somebody want to discuss anything. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.